Hi, it's Cammy. Charlie talks football.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Charlie Talks Football. It has been a while guys, but I am finally back. It's currently the international break, but we've still got more Newcastle United news coming out. So if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow my TikTok and Instagram pages as well, where I will be posting more Newcastle United news and updates on them. But what I wanted to talk about, guys, today is actually Paul Mitchell, Newcastle United sporting director, because a recent report has came out stating that Dan Ashworth, Amanda Staveley and Steve Nixon were all bemused and confused about the comments that Paul Mitchell made about Newcastle's transfer policy being transfer structure being not right and needed to be changed, which is very interesting because of course when Paul Mitchell came out with these comments, I think a lot of Newcastle fans were quite confused because Newcastle have made some fantastic signings under our new ownership. So for him to come out and say this is quite strange, and it just seems like that even though it's the international break and there's not really supposed to be many stuff coming out in the international break, you know, it's supposed to be a time where players go with their international teams on international duty and not necessarily get distracted by what's going on at the club. But the fact that there's still information coming out when the international break is supposed to be a quiet period for clubs is really says it all, I think, because it shows that there's still an ongoing conflict inside Newcastle United between like Paul Mitchell and everyone around at the club. Now the question is how long will Paul Mitchell stay as the director of Newcastle United? Will it not last? Because there's reports saying that his future is already being under consideration after he hasn't even been at the club for very long at all. So this is very, very interesting news. Now there are more reports suggesting that Newcastle will put in a bid for Mark Gee and go back for him in January, which again, honestly, in a way, I kind of hope that doesn't happen because it's gonna probably drag on again for ages. And you know me, I was talking about Mark Gee for ages on my YouTube channel and it never actually happened. So I'm hoping that if we do go back in for him in January, it's not something that takes so long and we can get that deal done in the first week or so of the January transfer window. Now, there's also been reports that Antony Elanga is Newcastle United's top target going into the January transfer window, with Newcastle set to try and make another bid to sign the Nottingham Forest winger. Now, as you know, Newcastle actually tried to sign Antony Elanga in the final few days of the summer transfer window. Apparently, we made a £50 million bid, which was actually turned down by Nottingham Forest. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Because I think 50 million for Antony Elanga, I'm not sure if Forest will end up getting that again. So if I was Forest, I would have accepted that. But I think the only reason why they didn't was because it was so late on in the window and they wouldn't have had enough time to find a replacement for Elanga. So it certainly seems like Newcastle are going to go back in for Antony Elanga. For me, it would be, of course, a fantastic player. He's very quick. He's good on the ball. So for me, this would be a great signing for Newcastle. Now, one of the more surprising news that has came out in the recent few days is that Newcastle are apparently interested in Antony, who of course plays for Manchester United. What are your thoughts on this, guys? Because this is sort of something you wouldn't expect, but there's been many reports saying that Eddie Howe is actually a big fan of the player's skills and he wants to sign an exciting, tricky right winger. Now, as you know, Antony hasn't had the best time at Manchester United. They signed him for a lot of money and he hasn't done great. But for me, this could be a really interesting signing. I know some people will laugh at it and say that if Newcastle did sign Antony, it wouldn't be a good signing. But we've seen how Eddie Howe develops players. We saw what happened with Joe Linton. We saw when we signed Anthony Gordon, no one thought that was a good signing. And look at him now. He's one of the best players in the Premier League. So I'm not saying this will happen. I don't think it will happen. But if it happened, it would be really, really interesting and quite a shock, but someone who Eddie Howe could possibly develop to becoming a fantastic player, because you can see he's got ability, but clearly the environment at Manchester United isn't right for the player. So what are your thoughts on that, guys? A very interesting situation there. But anyway, guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. I will be updating you guys on all the latest Newcastle United transfer news. It's nice to be back. And anyway, guys, I also just wanted to mention, actually, before I ended off the video, about Tonali's assist against France, because Italy were playing France in the Nations League. I think it was 3-1 to Italy, and Tonali did a fantastic assist. So it's glad to see him back on form. England were also playing Ireland, and Anthony Gordon was playing. So it's always nice when you get Newcastle players playing for the international teams, which never used to happen. But now it seems to be a regular occurrence. So anyway, guys, make sure to subscribe. Leave a like as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.